Hello, welcome. I'm guessing you're here because this will be my Shadow and Bone reading vlog. And if you hear my music, hold on, let me turn it down. Okay, turn it down a little bit. I'll be rereading this. So I read the entire trilogy back in 2016. I believe the entire trilogy I read in 2016. I just looked at when I finished this one. I finished this in January 2016, so I finished it that way. And I think I rated all of them 5 stars, but I remember, yeah, this one and the next one, Siege and Storm, I rated 5 stars. But guess what? I don't remember any of it. For some reason, I do this with books, even books I've rated 5 stars. I forget what they're about. And I loved it. I mean, I rated it 5 stars, so plus, also, TV series, it's starting this Saturday, and today is Tuesday. So we're gonna attempt to finish all 3 books before Saturday. I have very high hopes because apparently I read this in one day. First time I read it, and this only has 340 maybe pages. So it's pretty normal, pretty short. So I'm very excited to read this one. Also, I have this copy which I thought wasn't going to be one of these like shortened covers. Like, why do they do this? What's the point of this? What's the point of having a space right there with your covers? Also, I don't like this. It's literally on the book. I don't want it. I thought it was just going to be the plain cover. Like, I really like this cover, but like I want it to be like actually complete and without this logo. When I bought this, I thought I was getting that one. But anyway, here we are. So it's Tuesday night. It's 10 o'clock. So I'm about to go to sleep in like an hour. So I have 1 hour to read this book. Hopefully I'll get at least 25% of it. I don't know. That's me being very positive about that. We'll see, but I'm very excited to get into this. So I'll see you when I update. I'm actually doing a Graceling vlog before this one. I haven't updated that one, but I'm very excited for this one. So I'm starting it right now. Hello. It's been the next day. I know I look kind of the same, but I swear it's the next day. I'm just wearing the same thing. But I finished it like 20 minutes ago, and I literally forgot everything in here. Like, some of the main things I remember. I don't remember the whole thing with her, being taken by the Darkling to the palace and her training. I don't remember any of that, but I really enjoyed this one. I do have a few tabs, but these are more of the character things, not really plot things that are very important in the story. I rated this at 5 stars 5 years ago, and definitely not 5 stars now, but not so bad. I do have to kind of, realize or keep in mind that this was written 5 years ago. And 5 years ago, I was 20 years old. I was in college, and this was highly talked about and was hyped a lot. And I wanted to read it, and I really enjoyed it, and I did still enjoyed it, but it's definitely in a way a product of its time a little bit, and it is definitely YA. It's one of those very first really good YA fantasies, so it might not be a 5 stars now, but I still really enjoyed it. I still really liked it. And I know a lot of people are simping for the Darkling, and I know a lot of people are simping for him because he's Ben Barnes, and it's like Ben Barnes' Darkling is different, which, okay, but the things he does in this book, how do you forget that? And we don't even get anything of his history. He's just, he's written here as someone who manipulated Alina, who has been manipulating people for years, and who is about to destroy their country and this world because of his, desire for power. But I'm very interested in going to Siege and Storm. I don't know if this is going to contain any kind of background on the Darkling, because we didn't really get anything about him here. We only find out the main thing that he did, pretty much, but not necessarily his, how he grew up, his background. And I have a lot of questions about certain plot points that I feel like were brushed over. If you haven't read the book, I'm gonna put a spoiler thingy here. If you want to skip that, go ahead and skip. So we find out the identity of Bagra. Am I remembering that name correctly? I don't know, because she has two like training professors, right? One for martial arts and one for her Grisha powers, and they all both starts with a P. I mean a B, and I'm like kind of confusing their names. Anyway, I think Bagra turns out to be the Darkling's mother, and I'm like, so you know he made the fold. You know that he's planning on expanding the fold and using Alina, and you know that he's probably a couple 100 years old, just like you are. Like, he told Alina that he's 150 something, I think, and apparently he's not. He's a lot older than that. He's actually the one who made the fold, so he's probably like, I don't know, 500. And you haven't done anything, and literally you let Alina train with you and get better, and also not tell her. The only warnings that she gave was like, don't like be involved with him. The warning you should give her is like, run away and hide, because you're gonna end up killing people. Like, what is that? And I want to know exactly why the Grisha people are so invested in what the Darkling wants to do. Like, they're in agreement. And I'm just like, what? Literally, he made a fold, has killed probably hundreds of and thousands of people throughout the years he had the fold. Not to mention that the people who were caught when he made the fold turned into these Volcra creatures who are killing people. He like literally cut the continent in half, and the only way you can cross is through going through the fold and probably getting killed. Why are you guys so happy about this? I get the king is shitty, but like, we haven't really seen how shitty it is. Like, the king. Anyway, so that's spoilery section part over. I'm very excited to go to Siege and Storm. Hopefully my questions will be answered and we'll get more from this world, because definitely it set up this world here, but there's so many like essential points about the history of this world that we didn't really get to discuss and really talk about, or like it wasn't really brought up. And a good part of this book is Alina training, and there wasn't really much happening. It's more of her own journey, which I get, this is her story, we're following her, but also the world is very complicated around her, and she's a very important person now. So, being the Sun Summoner and all that. But yes, I will update you guys probably when I finish this one too, or I don't know, if I find something very interesting I want to discuss. And I'll see you then. Hello, it's Friday, and I thought the Shadow and Bone series was coming out tomorrow, and I thought I had time to finish the entire series, but I don't. I am planning on finishing Ruin and Rising. I finished reading literally just finished like seconds ago. I just finished reading Siege and Storm, and I really, I like this one. I felt like this was very kind of formulaic. It's very similar to how this first book went. You know, there's like a middle part where there's really not much happening, and then, you know, a lot of things happen in the first part, then the middle part not much happening, and then the last part where everything kind of goes down. So I really enjoyed this one too, but I think I enjoyed the first one just a bit. We do, I feel like, learn more about the characters here. I really like Alina. I have like multiple times throughout the book, especially the second one, where I was like, wow, I did not expect her to say those things or do those things. I'm speaking in terms of her realizing her actions and when she does certain things, because a lot of times female protagonists are like hopelessly idiotic or like hopelessly dense, you know, they're written like that, and she's not. She realizes, you know, pretty much immediately the root of her actions, of her words, and she realizes why she does certain things. She's not, you know, denying her emotions, which I really appreciate, because we don't get that a lot in female protagonists, I think. A lot of them are like dense and like not, you know, like not realizing why they're doing certain things, and I'm just like, isn't it obvious why you're doing it? Or like they're like in complete denial a lot of times, and Alina isn't. She's very smart, and I really like that. I'm very surprised, and I think that's why I really enjoyed this book, because we didn't see a lot of the character our main character like bumbling around and us knowing exactly why she's acting a certain way, and she just like, I don't know why I'm acting like this, blah, blah, blah. And anyway, I really like her, which kind of surprised me. I thought I would find I would find her annoying, which I usually do with fantasy characters that I read years ago. But yeah, I really like her. So now I will be starting. It's a bit shorter than Siege and Storm, about 30 pages shorter, which is good because I want to finish this early tomorrow and maybe, I don't know, start watching the show, because I want to finish this first. And I will also be reading Six of Crows because we will be seeing some of the characters that are present there that are not necessarily present in the first trilogy. So yeah, that's my update for right now. I'm really enjoying this reread of the series. The only thing really is that the plot is very similar. The plot of the second book is very similar to the first book, and there still was like a good part where there's not really much happening, but we do explore the characters more than really the world or like the actual plot itself, which is fine. So yeah, I will be starting Wind and Rising, and I will see you when I finish with it. Hopefully I'll finish this early tomorrow. I just talked about how I really like Alina and how not dense she is, and I just started Wind and Rising. And one thing that I realize now is that she's always worrying about Mal being with another girl and Mal being surrounded by other girls. And I kind of understand it because growing up, he's always been, an extrovert, pretty much. Like, people are around him and he's very charming and people just gravitate towards him, and especially girls. It's always been like that. And it's just like, Alina, there are a lot more things you should be worrying about other than who's around Mal. And the fact that you're worried about, what Mal is doing with this other girl is not... It's weird, because the thing about that is, I get jealousy. Okay, I get it. But the thing is, with Alina, she's always worrying about Mal finding another girl, or being surrounded by girls and, being with them, and not with her anymore. And it's just like, if you trust Mal's feelings for you, you can get jealous, but you're not really going to think that he's going to replace you with another girl. You can get annoyed with girls throwing themselves at him. That's understandable. I would be too. But if you're that insecure about Mal's feelings for you, there's a problem there now, isn't it? And I get that the relationship hasn't been the best throughout the books, but still, I feel like of all the things happening, why is that still like a big thing for you to worry about? Honestly. So yeah, those are my thoughts for now. I just noticed it because she's always talking about whenever she sees a girl around Mel and she sees them, like really smiling at him, flirting at him, she's always just like comparing herself to girls and saying that they're pretty and they're vibrant and they're happy and they get to spend a lot of time with him. I'm just like, girl, trust your man a little bit more. If you can't trust him enough to know that he's not going to cheat on you with other girls, maybe there's something there. I get that it comes from her too, and the fact that, Mal is surrounded by a lot of girls all the time, but still, try to have a little bit more faith in your guy. Yeah, so that's it for now. Hello. So I finished Wind and Rising yesterday. I didn't give an update because it was really late and I was very sleepy, and I had my shot that day too, so I needed the rest. And so I finished it, and so let's talk. Okay, so I swear I read this entire trilogy plus the Six of Crows duology years ago, around the time that they came out, like 2015, 2016. And I think that was when this was published, the last book. And I swore I did, and I rated them all 5 stars. I think there was one that I rated 4, but I swear I did, but I do not remember the majority of things that happened in this trilogy. I remember some scenes in Shadow and Bone, maybe some on Siege and Storm, and then Wind and Rising. I think I remember only like one specific part, which was the spoilery part, and it involves a character that we meet here, and I love, Nikolai. So yeah, I don't know what happened. It was what? I read it 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and I don't remember any of it. But okay, I was expecting not to like this book or like it, but it's fine. But I actually like it. I would rate the entire series probably a 4, stars. I really enjoyed it. The characters I really liked. Now, let's talk about some stuff about the characters, because I really did like the characters, especially individually. It is a fantasy book, so we do have a lot of characters that we meet, and I love how, even though it's Alina's story, we do get to meet a lot of characters that are pretty important to the plot. And I like Alina, like I've said in my previous update. I like her. Okay, let me pause because my arm is getting tired and I got vaccinated yesterday and it's this arm, so I'll be back. Hold on. Alright, so as I was saying, I do like Alina a lot. She definitely has some, stuff that I don't like about her. She's not perfect, obviously, but I did like her a lot more than I thought I will. I thought she was gonna be one of those, like, early annoying protagonists that are just like, oh, I'm so ugly, I'm so unattractive, and this guy would never like me. She does have those moments, but she's not super dense, like I mentioned before. I really like that about her, and I really like her coming to terms with her power and how she struggled with, what she's discovering about herself as, someone who has this massive amount of power, who has this massive amount of influence to the world that she lives in, where she, essentially at the start of the series, she's a nobody, and she's not even an attractive nobody in her opinion. So she doesn't really see herself much, or anything that will have any kind of impact on anything. But she learns about this power, she grows into this power, she realizes what this power is mean and all that. And I really enjoyed her struggle with that, and the things that she's discovering about herself, along with the powers that she has and the relationships she has with other people. Mal, there are a lot of times that we don't see Mal in this series, but the thing about it, it's Alina's always thinking about him, so it's not like we actually don't get a lot of Mal. We do actually get a lot of Mal because Alina's always thinking about him, even though, there are some parts where, well, they haven't seen each other for months on end on the first book and then also the second book, but Alina's always thinking about him, so we're always getting something about Mal. And so I feel like we see Mal through her eyes, but also from the interactions that she has with other people. So I think Mal is an okay character. He's not perfect. Okay, I think he does care about Alina, but he also has his own, like, insecurities and all things that he wants to deal with, and his own, like, personality. He is seen, he's very charismatic, he's very charming, he's a people person, he knows how to lead people and make people feel good, and he's always been kind of that kind of person who has a lot of people around him that look up to him, that follow him, and he always has had Alina by his side. So that's why a lot of people like hate him, because he didn't realize how important Alina was to him until Alina was practically gone from his life, and didn't appreciate her, which I get. Yes, I get it. He didn't, and that was really shitty of him. But I understand where it's coming from. I mean, they grew up together. They've been each other's allies. They've been a constant to each other's lives. But Mal had so many things going for him as well. That's why he's not really thinking about this one specific person, unlike Alina's whose thoughts are always revolving around Mal. So to Alina, to us readers following Alina's perspective, we see Mal through her eyes too, and she's always thinking about Mal, like I said. And so we know how much she cares about him, but we don't really get to see Mal's perspective because he is gone for like a good chunk of the books, away from Alina, and then we see him around other people, and so we see Alina's insecurities and jealousies because of the fact that Mal has these other people that is important and vital to his life, that Alina feels like, she's getting pushed aside and she doesn't, deserve to be around Mal because there are a lot of other people that are, more talented than her, prettier than her, more useful than her, etc. So we see Mal through her eyes, but we don't really get Mal's perspective. And so, like, I get it. I understand that for us, we see Mal as someone who really is trashy towards Alina, but I get it. Mal has this wider life because he's not only focused with Alina. He's always had Alina by his side. He's always, constant, but again, he has this whole other world. He has a bigger world outside of Alina, or with Alina, not really outside. Like, he just has a bigger world. So he has more people, more connections, more friends, and Alina's only pretty much friend is Mal. So it isolates her. So she's only thinking about Mal, and Mal has, these other people that he's thinking about. And so Alina might feel like she's not the priority, even though Mal does care about her. And Mal doesn't really realize how important Alina is to his life because he's getting distracted, or, he's thinking about a lot of other things too. So, I feel like Alina's always thought of Mal as someone who's always going to be there with her, or someone she's always going to care about and always going to want to have in her life. It's a more personal thing for her. She wants to have Mal in her life, but she's not very secure about the fact that Mal is going to be in her life because she sees that he has other friends and stuff. And for Mal, I feel like he's always thought of Alina as someone who's going to be with him. He's secure that Alina's always going to be with him, and he's not really thinking about, oh, Alina's gonna have other choices. He's always thought that, oh, Alina's going to be with me. So it's kind of opposite like that. They're both thinking of each other as constants to each other's lives, but in like a different way. Like Alina, it's just only him. For Mal, she's always going to be with him. For Alina, she wants to be always with him. So there's like kind of a power balance in their relationship, sort of, especially in the beginning. And I think throughout the series, Alina never really grows out of it. She has like this certain point in her story where she realizes this is where, like, she says something like, this is where Mal's and I's relationship will end, but she doesn't really get over him because throughout the time she's still thinking about him, she's still worrying about him, she's still hang up on Mal, even though she's saying that they're probably not going to be, in each other's lives anymore because they have different paths now. And so, I mean, Alina's always thinking about him because he's her only companion since they were kids. She has done so many things for him, and she's not necessarily, asking or, thinking that Mal will stay in her life. But she wants to stay in Mal's life, like I said. So I get that we see Mal as someone who doesn't care about Alina, but he does. He just didn't realize it because he has a wider world outside of her, or with her. Anyway, what else do I want to talk about? The Darkling. I want to talk about the Darkling. I don't really get it. A lot of people ship Darklina, which I get it. I understand. But right from the first book, I knew that there's no redemption for him anymore. We do see humanity, like his side of humanity, throughout the books. And, I've always known that. Like, I've always known right from the beginning that he's not a cold, manipulative only person, He's the reason why he can get so manipulative is because he understands emotions. He's lived so long that he knows how to control people, but he doesn't appear to be very cold or abrasive, like, not too much. He still has that part of him that is tied to the humanity that he had before, which I get, but he doesn't have a chance of changing. I realized that already in the first book, and I don't understand why people ship Darklina. I cannot. I read their scenes and I see the tension, okay? I feel it. I get it. They're very magnetized towards each other, and I enjoyed reading those scenes, but I never at any point wanted them to be together because there's no redemption for him. I can't imagine Alina being with him and bringing back his humanity. His humanity's gone. It's gone. The humanity that he's learned, that he's experienced, he uses it to control people for hundreds of years. He doesn't have it anymore. He just knows it and uses it, but he doesn't really have it anymore. There is a scene in the last book that kind of shows, some humanity in him. But again, there's no redemption for him anymore, so I can't really ship Darklina. For maybe, there's definitely tension. There's chemistry between them. I get it. I love reading their scenes because you can definitely tell that they're attracted to each other and magnetized towards each other. But I cannot ship them. I can't. Not really. I can't. Like them ending up together like Endgame, no. I can't. Let's talk about Nikolai too. I love Nikolai. Okay, I wasn't planning on reading King of Scars. I do want to reread Six of Crows. This is my next read, by the way. After this video, I will be starting this. I do want to reread this because I have read it before, and we do get some of the characters here in the TV show. So I want to read about halfway through it before I actually start watching the TV show, and maybe finish it before I actually finish the rest of the series. Anyway, or the rest of the show. So I'm planning on reading that, but I wasn't planning on reading King of Scars. Then I realized King of Scars is about Nikolai, and I didn't know about it because I didn't really hear it. And Rule of Wolves just came out, but I'm so excited to read it because I love Nikolai. I love Nikolai so much. He's probably my favorite character. Yeah, I think he is. He's my favorite character. I love him so much. I could actually ship Nikolai and Alina. We all know, spoilers if you haven't read it, I'm gonna put it up. We all know that Alina and Mal are going to end up together. They're endgame. And we see like the last chapter of it where it tells like what happens to them at the end of pretty much the entire story, how they live the rest of their lives. I feel like I get that they have, they experience so many things, and there's a lot of darkness now, and they can't ever be fully happy. But I feel like, I don't know, I feel like Alina is not as happy as she could have been. I don't know. Listen, I get it. I don't really hate them together, but I feel like Alina could have been with somebody else, and Mal could have been with somebody else as well. I just feel like she needed to grow out of her Mal face, like I talked about. She never really got out of that Mal face that she has for years. And it's hard to do that because, she's known him for years, and like she's his only one. Oh, I mean, he's her only one. So it's hard to do that, but I feel like we needed more of her experiencing the world outside of her getting hungover, or outside of Mal. She really does, because the world is a lot bigger than she realizes, and she understands that obviously throughout the story, but she keeps thinking about Mal. I just want her to come into terms about herself and the world without Mal, without him, because she has this point again that she kind of accepted, oh, they're not going to be together, or this is the end of their relationship, blah blah, but she was still mourning, she was still processing it. She never really fully processed herself outside of it. When Mal comes back and things get complicated between them, I get it, but I just want, I could imagine Alina with Nikolai. Okay, I could imagine Alina ending up with Nikolai. Again, she's going to deal with dark and the things, the trauma that they go through. Like, wow, like it is very dark, okay, and she's gone through a lot. But I feel like Nikolai will understand that too. Mal, not really. He has like parts of darkness that he deals with as well, but I feel like Nikolai is just a little bit more. I feel like Nikolai will resonate and understand Alina a little bit more, and with his personality, how he's always joking and smiling and making light of situations. I feel like it will work better with Alina, who's very pessimistic. So I don't know, because they dealt with their own kinds of demons and darkness, so I feel like they would understand each other a lot better and would be a better companion to each other, I feel like. So yeah, I mean, obviously I get Alina doesn't want it anymore, like the whole she's just tired. I get it. But I don't know, like person to person wise, outside of Nikolai being the king, I feel like if they had ended up together, they would have been a lot better. I feel like Nikolai could provide a lot more brightness and lightness to Alina's days, and Alina could do the same thing for him. He looks at, I feel like Nikolai will look at Alina and see, the goodness in Alina and the strength in Alina, and he's going to pull from that and make her smile too, which in turn makes him smile. So I don't know, I feel like Mal and Alina, they don't fit as well as I expected them to, as Endgame. There's just some parts of them that I feel like they won't ever understand about each other, ever. So that's really about Alina and what she's gone through. I feel like Nikolai would just understand her more and get her more. I just love when they're together. I don't think they're ever going to fall in love with each other, but I do think Nikolai and Alina do love each other and care about each other, and I feel like they're gonna be really great friends, and I can see them like just being happy for the rest of their lives, or like being content and happy with each other for the rest of their lives. I can see them like that. Mal and Alina, not so much. Not really. So yeah, those are my thoughts for Shadow and Bone trilogy. Again, I really enjoyed this. I would rate the entire series a 4 stars. So it's really good. I really enjoyed this. There are certain parts, especially the first and second book, being very parallel to each other. Like nothing happening for a lot of things happening in the first, third, fourth of the book, and then a good chunk of the middle. There's really nothing happening, and then a lot of things happen in the last part. This last book, there's a lot of things happening throughout because this is the last book. This is it. I enjoyed my reread of this, so I'm very excited to get into this. This one is a bit longer. I'm not going to include this in this vlog because I do want to get to watching the Netflix show. No, actually, should I include Six of Crows? I think I'm not going to include it here. I feel like it's going to be a long video already. Like, the discussion part of me is already around 2 minutes long, so yes. That is all my thoughts for Shadow and Bone trilogy. So far, I will be doing a separate vlog for the Six of Crows, and I will also be including me watching the series on that vlog because it's going to only be involving 2 books. And again, the first season is set in the first book, I think, only. We do get some of the characters that appear here, but it's more of a prequel. That's what I heard. That's what I read on like some articles. It's just a prequel to this. That's why they appear there. And we don't really get Nikolai yet, so I do want to get Nikolai soon because I really love him. He's my favorite character. Anyway, yeah, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. I feel like I didn't really update as I read. I think it's a lot better that way. I'll try to do that a little bit more for the Six of the Crows trilogy. If you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you on my next vlog, or my next video, whatever that is. What is that on my eyebrow? Thank you so much for watching.